Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We're live. We are live today. R&R. Uh, R&R. It doesn't just mean rest and recover. It means also to remember and release. You see, when you remember who and what it is that you are, you'll find that when you go through the day, you don't have to remember anymore because now you're that new person. So you don't have to remember, you just do now. You know when you're excited and oh my god, I can read. And you're in school and you're excited about reading and you're rehearsing and you're practicing your reading. But do you notice there comes a time when you don't remember that you can read? You just read? It's like driving. You know when people have that new driver label at the back of their car? Do you realize you go from, oh my God, I'm a new driver to get out of the way, merge, fool. Yeah. And leaning on the horn. You see, we don't have to remember anymore. We just do it now because it is second nature. That's the part I love the most because then you don't have to think about it anymore. But then you catch yourself, you go, wait a minute. I'm new. I'm doing it. You go from remembering to do it to doing it. You go from remembering that you are a new person to being the new person. Catch yourself next time, and you'll see that you've gone from having to remind yourself, hey, we do it this way now. And you go from there to, oh snap, I didn't even have to remember to do it. I just did it. This is second nature, which means you just do it automatically. You see, we go from remembering to the relief of just doing it and not having to remember to do it. But that's what practice does for us. This is why we don't grow weary in practicing. We just practice and practice and practice and practice until you catch yourself and you say, whoa, Nelly, I don't have to practice anymore. I haven't practiced in like forever. Why not? Because now you know what to do. So you see, that happens to us on a daily basis. So the encouragement is keep practicing, keep rehearsing. Remember to do it every day. Oh, sure, it might seem a little bit burdensome that, this is so much to remember. But then you'll catch yourself and you would have just done it and not had to remember to do it. That's the exciting part that helps to pull us along. You understand? Because when we're rehearsing and practicing, sometimes we get a little bit discouraged, like, "Ugh, again, I gotta do it again." You know, like in Karate Kid, you pick up the jacket, you drop it. You pick it up, you drop it. You pick it up, you drop it. Why? So that, remember when he says, pick up the jacket, drop the jacket, and he just knew what to do in the fight? Hmm. That's the whole point right there. You do it and you do it and you do it because at the end, it feels really great. You don't have to remember anymore. You just do it now. But that is the way it is with all things in life. Like that new baby learning how to walk. They get up every morning and they practice. Every moment of the day they practice. And they fall down. They practice. They fall down. They practice. They fall down. They practice. And then the next thing you know, they look at you and they catch their bearings and they go, oh, I can run. And you see the light go off in their eyes. You're like, you see it when it clicks for them that oh, they don't remember to walk anymore. They do it. It's just like when they're learning their sentences. They have to stop and think about how to answer you. But then you realize they stop thinking about how to answer you and they just answer you. Because the words have now taken root in their minds. They don't have to find the words anymore. The words pour off their tongue. So much so, you can't get them to stop jogging. That's what I'm saying. But that's the beautiful thing. And the more we practice, something happens to us. We get a little bold. We become more curious. We gain more confidence so that we say to ourselves, oh, I am. You go from I am in training to I am. And it's the, what is that word, that phrase? It's getting there. That part right there that takes you from I am in training to I am. See that goal to get to the I am? That is the fuel that keeps you going and having faith in what you're doing because you know that in due time you will take yourself from, oh, I'm in training to be this thing until you get to, well, I am this thing. I am that. I am. So it's the thrill of the I am that keeps you in the I am training to be that. Because you can see the end. You see it, you know it. And that's why your faith doesn't waver. Because you know that what you are practicing is who you are becoming. And you do it and you don't lose heart in it. You don't catch yourself anymore saying, oh my God, this is so hard. Why I gotta work so hard at this? And then you'll remind yourself, that's only for a little bit. And then it'll get so easy that I'll forget that I actually know what I'm doing. And I'll just do it. There are some places, though, where we do not rely upon our memories. Pilots, they have a checklist. Surgeons have a checklist. They do. Why is that checklist necessary, though? We do one too, you know. We do one too. It's called being deliberate. The checklist, we do it too. It's called being deliberate, which means you know what you want, you know what you're doing because of the desired outcome you stated. And that checklist is there because it does what? Keeps you safe. What's your checklist? Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, causation, and gender. Your checklist. That's the checklist. So that you know what you've done after you've done it. That's why the surgeons and the pilots, there might be some more professions that have it, but those are the two that I, off the top of my head, because they have to be deliberate. They must be. Can you imagine? The rates of malpractice if they didn't? It'd be, hey, how you doing, positive? Hey. Oh, look, all these
a beautiful black woman in here.
Bad boy. Let's remain focused though. But this is the beauty of that checklist, of using the law as your checklist. It keeps you where you should be. And it reminds you that, yeah, you know what you're doing. Yes, you know what you're doing. But now that you know what you're doing, the law keeps you focused, keeps you ever vigilant. That's your checklist. Because think about it, being on autopilot is a good thing, right? Sure, it is. Then you're the one who set the autopilot. That's what the law wants you to be, the one who sets the autopilot so that you know what you're doing. But you see, sometimes the autopilot is there. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't have to remember it. It's just done. It's just the autopilot. But the law, knowing that the autopilot is good and helpful to you, always wants you to be ever vigilant. That we don't become complacent in the autopilot. Because when something has run its course, because you're living by way of law, you can catch it when it's done and go, well, time to swap this out for something that is much more effective. Why is that good? So that we do not continue along an autopilot path that is no longer, I know some people don't like this phrase, serving us. That's why we remain ever vigilant. So that when one thing has run its course, you go, oh, that's done. Now, what do you want it to be? And you swap it out for the new way. And the beauty of that is you're always on point. You're at the command helm, you're at the helm, and you're giving command. You're saying, this doesn't work for us anymore. You pop it out and you rework it and you reinsert it so that now you start doing that new thing. So that we are never stuck in an old way, ever. But we are vigilant to say, this habit was helpful, but I don't need this habit. I need this new habit now. Because you're ever watching the self. This is why the R&R, you remember, and it brings the relief. It brings the rest to us, the relaxation to us, but not a blind relaxation where we're just do, and we're walking along with no clue of what we're doing. No, that's not what the law does for us. The law helps us to always be vigilant, always be deliberate, always being clear, knowing what we want, and rehearsing what it is mentally, so that physically we can play it out. And when you do it that way, you will get to a point where you don't have to, what do I want again? Now you'll just know what you want. And you'll automatically do the scene over and over again till bam, there it is in the physical. That's what we'll do day in and day out. But we've got to stay true to the course. And what keeps us true to the course is the desired end, the unfolding of it. We're like, we know how this is going to unfold in our lives because of cause and effect. You brought about that cause because you know the desired effect of what you want to experience. And we are ever vigilant to see it so that when we do, we can say, Eureka, I did that. And you notice how we don't end up questioning ourselves with, oh my God, why would I do that? Why did that happen to me? Nah, the law brings us out of that dark place and shows you exactly why you did it. So that you can be like that mechanic and go, you just hear it. And you go, ooh, I know what needs to be changed there. And you do it. You see, at every turn, the law keeps us sure-footed, like the mountain goat. Even though they have those giant horns, they're sure-footed. They're confident. They just are. And those sheep who climb up the dam just to lick the salt, you're like, wait, that's a vertical climb. How are you? Not, they don't ask how they do it. They just know that they can, and so they do. That's like you and me. We know the law is there. We know that we're supposed to use it, and we just do it. Doesn't matter what the situation is. We apply the law because we are sure footed. We are confident, just like the bird. They're confident in their wings, man, who they are. They don't say, "Ooh, am I going to risk this branch?" No. They know they can conquer anything because they can just fly above it. That's us. That's what the law does for us day in and day out. So sometimes when it feels like it might be a little bit challenging or it's hard, remember, that's just because you're now practicing it. That's all it means. It doesn't mean it's not working. It doesn't mean it's taking a long time. It means you're brand new. So continue in your newness until your newness becomes old hat. But even in your old hat, you're vigilant. New brooms may sweep clean, but old brooms know the corners. You know? That's what we do. That's the confidence we have in the law, whereby we don't even, listen, we don't even look at situations anymore. We don't look at them anymore because we don't live from the outside in. All of this practice that we're doing is getting us to live from the inside out, meaning we're the ones diligently creating the experience because we know what we'll see on the outside because we're the ones putting it there, as opposed to reacting to everything that's on the outside because we have forgotten that we're putting it there. So you see, remember that as you rehearse your new way of being, because you're only remembering for a short time until you start doing, right? And so the law is always telling us, I don't want you doing these things blindly. Because remember, faith isn't blind. You know what you're doing. You've decided to do it. You know how it turns out. That is faith. As opposed to, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know how this is going to turn out. I'm just going to hope for the best. I'm going to throw mud at the wall to see what sticks. That's hoping for the best. But faith, you know what you've done and you know how it's turning out. Because you're the one who initiated it. Change, initiated. That's what you're doing. So you see, my beautiful friends, today, doesn't matter what the situation is. Do you deem it desirable or undesirable? Do you want to remain as you are, doing the same thing, or do you want to change and do something different? Well, then decide what it is and mentally rehearse it until such time it is second nature to you so that you stop rehearsing mentally. And what happens? You catch yourself, oh snap, I'm actually physically doing this thing. And then you'll recall, that's right, I took it from my mind from inside to outside. And you'll notice you didn't do it by might, and you didn't do it by power, but you did it by spirit. Because life, as you and I know, is meant to be easy and effortless. That's why living from memory is not hard, it is effortless. Because that is the design. Once you lay down the memory, we live from there effortlessly. And that's why we don't see what we are doing on a daily basis. And because we don't see it, we don't know we're doing it. It is running in the background, it is autopilot. But you see, The saving grace of the law shows you day in and day out, every time. Is this thing still worthy of you? No, it's done, it's played its course. What do you want? Rehearse it mentally until such time you do it physically and you can say, oh, snap, we're there already. As opposed to, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there? No, you just go from, oh, snap, we're here. And you'll know that, oh, that's right, I did rehearse that, didn't I? Yes, it takes us from tapping our foot and watching the time. It takes us from there to the fulfillment of a thing. So you don't have to worry, is it going to be fulfilled? You already know because you set it in motion and you are just following along as the unfoldment occurs. Your faith. So today, again, pay attention to the situation that you're in. Do you want to be in that? No? Choose the new one you want to be in. Because remember polarity. Where are you now and what are you doing? Where do you want to move yourself from to? Right? So that is the encouragement for us today, my beautiful friends.
And I just want to say one thing, right?
Yes, Marquise, honey, come on.
First of all, good day, everybody. Good day, especially positively, Angela. So I just love that what you said about being sure-footed, right? So it reminds me that I am walking in faith, and I'm not worried about what's going on in the physical sense as much as I'm concerned about what's going on in my mind.
Yes.
I'm projecting out from the screen of my mind to the reality of life. And that's what my day will be.
Indeed. And that's why we go from not doing this thing. You know how we walk by faith and not by sight. It is the practice of that. So that when you catch yourself, you go, oh, wait a minute. My outside no longer dictates my mood. I am the one dictating my mood. See, that's why Marquise can say you're walking by faith and not by sight. Because you practice. Yes. I just want to throw confetti because this is the part, right? And you'll notice naturally that we go from a place of learning right into a place of doing. You'll notice that happens. A switch almost, where you say, okay, I've learned this. Ooh, let me do it. I want to practice it. That's what you'll begin to notice as well. That you've learned, you've taken in the information, but now another part of you says, let's do it. That's where and if you catch yourself, you will see when you have tipped yourself from where you were, and you're like, oh snap, I'm there. That's the part right there. When you look down and you go, oh my goodness, I am sure-footed. I'm not even, and you're like, this is the part that gets us. Then we look back and go, how did I get here? That's the part that's so amazing. You look back and you go, wait, how did I get here? And you say, oh, I practiced walking by faith and not by sight every single day. You see now why when you practice something new, this is why Neville says the end. Look to the end. Because it has its own way of unfolding and you just follow along. Don't worry. You'll know exactly what to do. Because it keeps you inspired to keep going. One sure-footed step in front of the next. Because you're walking by faith of, I did this, I implemented this is how it turns out. I know what I'm doing. And you're not even swayed by, oh my God, you pissed me off today. You're not even fazed by the exterior anymore because you know the exterior is there because of you. And so what do you do when you come upon something undesirable? You're like, you pop in and you go, oh, nope, change that mentally. And you act accordingly.
Listen, I do not conform to the world, but I am transformed by the renewing of my mind.
See? You see that part right there? Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You hear the word he says? Renewing. Why is that? Because you don't renew and stop. You renew until such time that you can come upon it and say, this is no longer working. And you renew again to the thing that does work. That's why the law keeps us ever vigilant. That's the beauty of the R&R, to remember and to have the relief to know that I did that. You're not surprised. You're like, nope, I did that. I rehearsed so much that I forgot I was rehearsing and I started doing and being. See how much peace that brings you to know that you're just rehearsing until it's second nature? But not even in our second natureness do we lose ourselves. We are always sure because the law wants you to be sure. This, and as I say, it just something will happen and it will click and you'll go, oh, well, I just went from to where I wanted to be. And you do a little dance. That right there. So don't fret about how long do I have to do it? You know how the disciples asked the question, how many times do you forgive? And because we like to know how long something takes, what did Jesus say? 70 times 7. Mm-hmm. We want to be busy counting. No, you're not supposed to be busy counting. You're supposed to be busy doing the new life that you say. Don't count. Don't fret about count. You don't have to worry. Times. It is time times and a half. You don't have to fret and worry about time. You're focused on what? Doing. Because that's the whole point. You will automatically move from learning to doing, from where you are to where you say you want to be. It is a natural and effortless progression. So you don't have to force yourself to remember. Just rehearse, just practice. And that relief will set in for you because you'll feel it and go, oh snap, I'm doing it. That's the encouragement for you today. Don't grow weary in your rehearsal. When am I ever going to use picking up my coat and dropping it? Why do I have to keep doing it? Till such time that you find yourself in a situation and you just pick up the coat and drop it. You wax on, you wax off. Karate Kid. Right? So be encouraged to rehearse your new life mentally because that's what we're already doing. Rehearse it mentally until bam, you're like, oh snap, we're there already. What? What? That didn't take long at all to go from the thing you were mentally rehearsing to physically experiencing it. And then we're not focused anymore on the outside. But we know that it is the interior that dictates the exterior. And so we just live from the inside out. That is your word of encouragement today. This is why Neville says, remove your attention from any obstacle or excuses that you can possibly conjure. Why? Because if the focus is on them, what are you going to reap? Obstacles and excuses. So that's why we practice keeping our minds on what? Whatever things are good, true, of honest report. Think on these things. Pretty soon, they'll stop thinking on them because they're second nature for us to just know. that we do it that way now. And it will always be confirmed, and you'll catch yourself saying, oh, I just did that. So don't fret about when is it going to happen, because you're too busy making it happen mentally. You're too busy there. So you don't have to worry about, are we there yet? Because you'll know something else. You'll know that the rehearsal is telling you it is already done. And all you're doing is preparing that space for the new items from your harvest.
But you know what? Like it says in Second Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourselves to see if your faith is genuine. Test yourselves. Surely you know that Jesus is in you. That is, of course, unless you fail the test.
There it is. There it is. Examine the self. See what the law does for you? Remember the checklist that the pilot and the surgeon needs? When you examine yourself, right? You notice how we examine ourselves by way of law instead of examining ourselves by way of, oh my God, I'm not good enough. Oh my God, they're better than me. We don't examine ourselves from the outside. We examine ourselves by way of law from the inside. Always ever vigilant. So that you can do what? Pass the test to know that I'm bang on. I'm right on. Marquise, thank you so much for that. It's a beautiful way of looking at it. Yes, it's a beautiful way. Because then, this is what I mean, right? Sometimes we go through life and we get to that point where we just want to rebel against everything. Oh, the Bible is this. Oh, this is that. No, 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 no. Remember that the law is written down for a reason, right? Somebody had to take note of it to remind us. Because sometimes we become so desensitized by what we've seen. You know, you reap what you sow. We go out and we pick that apple and we forgot that we planted the apple seed. So this is why having it written somewhere is helpful so that we can do what again? Examine the self every time. That's why we don't toss out the law, but we use it because it's in the Bible, it's in the Quran, it's in the Torah, it is everywhere, including written on your heart. Oh, yes, indeed it is. Right? It's written for us. So but we just use it by way of law. Look at it through that lens so that we go from historical or using people to thinking mentally, I should do it this way. Right? This is what it is. It tells you to cast your bread on the water. That doesn't mean go out on the river and just throw it out on the water. Mentally, cast your cares on the Lord, for he careth for you. That's what you're doing. Always it reminds us to do that, to do it mentally over and over and over and over again. So today, my beautiful friends, that R&R, the remember and the relief that it brings, just be faithful because you know the outcome. You were the one that initiated your change. So the change is done. All you're doing is rehearsing it. That's it. So you're now walking by faith in the law instead of faith in the external things, because the external things are but shadows that you put there. So walk by your faith today and examine yourselves that you may prove yourselves to be true. That's why you will go from learning to doing. It just will happen naturally because that is the progression. Just that we go from seed to sapling, It's a natural progression, right? All the way till we get fruit, and then bam, we have the seed again. Always a renewing, isn't it? That is your word today. Let's take a brief moment, shall we, to acknowledge everyone in the space. Hey, Jeff and Tanya. So good to see you here on Twitter. It truly is. Facebook and YouTube. I know Indy, Joaquin, Anot, Marjorie, Sugar Visions, The Better Man, Shea Butter. And for the others who've not made themselves known, I still see you. And fan base. Wow, I got a lot of scrolling to do. Cherokee, triple seven is here. My melanin, my flow smiles in two places. Marquise, bad boys. Now you got me want to sing it. Bad boys, bad boys. Delight is here too. Comrade, Z Steve, Miss McQueen, KZ, Ali, Oracle, Treehouse, and Zola. Hey, Summer Rose was here. And I have not seen Yolanda yet. But you see, remember, we walk by faith, which means we practice day in and day out. We practice mentally so that in due time we do physically. It is the natural progression. Say it again, sorry.
I said the never-ending rehearsal.
I know, right? At least that way, as an actor, you know you're always employed. The perfect role is always there for you. Yes. That's the best part, and you always get the Oscar. Like, seriously, that is the best part of why we rehearse, because we always get the Oscar. So then they say, and the Oscar goes to, you already know it's you. You already know it's you. So that's what I wanted to tell you today. You've got it in the bag. Rehearse. That's all. Just rehearse. And everything unfolds naturally and beautifully. Because that's the way it is. Don't make me do it. That's the way. I like that. That's the way it is. That's the way I like it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That's the way the law is. Right? Anywho, let's get the bowl because, don't want to keep you. But remember that today. You are most incredible. And the more you start rehearsing your incredibleness, you'll see it. You'll see it. And then you'll remember. Oh, that crazy girl said. You'll remember. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2. Before I say 1, let me read you what my lovely Marjorie said. See? She said last night something was making a banging sound outside and it was disturbing me from sleeping. Then I remembered I am God of my reality, and I said, I command you to stop immediately, and immediately it stopped after hours of noise. That part right there. She remembered, she said, whoa, whoa, wait a minute. I I can command the tempest. See what I'm saying? That's the part we get to right there. So, Tonyo and Jeff, go forth today and remember, you can calm the tempest. You can do anything. You sure can. Love you, Twitter. I'll see you tonight, 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, and yes, I'll see you tonight. We'll do the next 3 lectures. Ooh, it is going to be lit, let me tell you, because I've been skimming through them. And they are awesome. So I'll see you tonight. Twitter is closed. YouTube and Facebook, I love you. And I'll see you tonight, 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Much love to all of you.